I nearly missed my stop on the train home. Then I failed to notice when I reached the bottom of the stairs, and I almost tripped. My route home, which usually felt long and listless, was already almost over, as though I wasn't allowed to put off thinking about it. Next thing I knew, I was looking up at my house gate. My line of sight was a lot closer to the top of the gate than it had been in the past. If I kept looking at it, I felt like I might never be able to move again, so I tried my best not to think of anything as I went into the house. I passed my grandparents at the front entrance, where they were putting on their shoes. "Welcome home." "Thank you." My words slid through the pipe that was my throat, as though someone else were talking. My grandmother looked at me, as though she had picked up on something. I turned my eyes away, and quickly shuffled away, so that her sharp instincts wouldn't figure anything out. I imagined that my head was floating on its own as I went down the hallway, and somehow made it to my room. When I looked at the center of the room, where the light fell most, my vision felt as though it were spinning. No, this won't do. I inhaled deeply. I never wanted my family to see me this unnerved. After calming myself down a bit, I put down my bag and sank into my seat. When I exhaled, it was as though my tensed shoulders were shrinking. I held my legs and gently rocked back and forth in my chair. Though I realized I hadn't changed out of my uniform, I didn't have the energy to move another inch. Every time I tried, Senpai would get into my head again right away. When I recalled her voice telling me she loved me, I felt my ears burning. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. My heart bounced around lightly. I couldn't say that I knew Senpai very well, but I didn't think she was the type of person to joke about something like that. At least, that's what I wanted to believe. Her face had certainly looked quite serious about it. I looked down at my right hand, which was balled into a fist. When I touched it, it still felt a little warm. I couldn't tell whether it was Senpai's heat that had remained with me. I thought of her face. Had I ever seen her in that way myself? No memories came to mind, of course. I didn't even think we had been particularly close. We did say hello and talk to each other, though, and the closing party had been fun. I'd always assumed that it was just a relationship between a senpai and an underclassman, which was different from ordinary friendship. But thinking back, there might have been times when I saw or felt something special in her too. I shook my head instinctively. Although I had an inkling there was something going on, this was like realizing there was an entirely new world right next door. It might have been because I'd been shut away in my room this whole time, but the air was starting to feel slightly tepid, like it was stagnant. I breathed in quietly and exhaled, then tried to soothe my still fretful heart. Even as I did so, though, I felt the heat rising in my face from the bottom up. It was as if I'd submerged my head in invisible, boiling water. A wave of shock rolled over me. I did know some of the rumors about this kind of thing. I had heard my classmates, who were inquisitive when it came to people's love lives, get excited over baseless gossip. Someone from the class next door had tried to hold a girl's hand at school, where their fingers had been intertwined, where they had been kissing. Stuff like that. I didn't think anyone would actually do that stuff while someone else was watching, so I didn't believe any of it for a second. And yet, Just a short while ago, Senpai had been holding my hand. Now something I had deemed unbelievable was no longer deniable. My head was so full, I couldn't think of anything else. I wondered how long I could delay my answer. Perhaps I should have given a more specific length of time than a little. I wondered if she would be mad if I made her wait a full week. But at the same time, this was an issue I could easily spend a whole month mulling over. It was all new to me. This wasn't something I could take extra lessons for, or something I could supplement with my school studies. The only thing I could do was accept reality, think it over, and make my choice. There was no practice round. This was the real deal. To be honest, this sort of thing was a weakness of mine. When I had a goal, I could build up my efforts and bring about the results I wanted over time. I was confident about that much. But when someone wanted results right away, it put me at a loss. No, maybe most people were like that. But sometimes there were exceptions. Sometimes a person would suddenly, somehow, make something happen, as if out of nowhere. I wasn't that type of person. That was why Senpai impressed me. I can't believe she was able to tell someone she loved him. Had she confessed her feelings to someone else before? She was absent-minded. But maybe she had a lot of experience with love. Still, she said she loved me. Just remembering it made me instinctively bury my face in my knees. So that's how it is. Out of all the other underclassmen, she had been watching me in particular. She was still watching me. She loved me. I wonder what she loved about me. My face. Maybe how I acted. My attitude. My hair. Only Senpai would know if it was something else. I even kind of wanted to ask her. But would I be able to face her? Ask her that politely. And listen until the end, without running away. It's your face I like, Sayaka-chan. Because you're beautiful. It's because you're so amazing, Sayaka-chan. It doesn't even matter which year we're in. I feel like you're walking ahead of me. No. It's the way you work towards your goal. I really love the way you're so dignified. No way. Surprisingly, I got annoyed just imagining it. Maybe I was getting a look into my own mind. Was that what I thought an ideal person should be like? I compared Senpai to that. Her face. Well, I did think she was pretty. But what about the rest? Realizing how seriously I was thinking about it now, I was taken aback. If I didn't want that kind of relationship, if the idea simply made me feel unpleasant and nothing more, then I wouldn't have any reason to falter. But I didn't immediately want to turn her down, which must mean I felt the same. The thought made me press my face into my knees again. In the darkness, I hugged my legs tightly to my chest.